Hello, thank you for staying with us on The Breakfast. You're still watching Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. And now we move over to our first hot topic. We'll be talking about the Ondo political crisis. And I have with me today Mr. Olufemi Lawson. He is the Executive Director for the Center of Public Accountability. Welcome to the program, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. So there's been a lot of brouhaha, if I can say that, in Ondo State. What can you tell us, like update on what's going on right now?
What is happening in Ondo State is basically, built around the fact that for over 6 months, the state has been without a governor, and except for less than 3 months, it had an acting governor, who, of course, was the deputy governor who was given power for a very short period of less than 3 months between June and September. And as we speak, Ondo State is without a governor. The acting capacity, which was handed over to the deputy, was withdrawn somehow in a dramatic manner on September 7, when the governor was shipped in back to Nigeria. And since that September 7, that the governor purportedly claimed to have resumed, having been overseas for medical treatment for over 3 months, the governor is nowhere to be found. As we speak, not for a minute has Governor Aguero been able to speak to the people of Ondo State for about 6 months now. And unfortunately, governance is on hold in Ondo State, and a very few people in Ondo State have held the governor hostage away from the people who elected him, who are paying his bills, who are paying the bills of his family till this morning as we speak.
So you have a diaspora governor, as it were, because is he in Ondo State, by the way?
The truth is that nobody can actually tell where Governor Akeredolu is, apart from the moment that he appeared in Ibadan, in far away in Ibadan, where he claimed to have returned from medical trip during a visit by some members of his cabinet, and of course sometimes recently when his colleagues from the Southwest visited him. And for everyone who saw the visuals of that visit, no audio, nothing was said to have been said by Governor Akeredolu, even the visiting friends. So for now, it is practically even impossible to say that conversation or that meeting held in Ibadan. So there was no audio attached to
or even a date and time to ascertain if it's recent.
The event. So as we speak, the people of Ondo State do not know where their governor is. And it has been assumed that he's been aired somewhere by this group of people who have access to him within his family and his cabinet.
So who's running Ondo State right now?
Ondo State currently is in the hand of people who are not elected to govern Ondo State. As I speak with you, if you look at people who come to defend this government, who execute spendings, who execute projects in Ondo State, there are people who are neither elected by the people of Ondo State or have legitimate authority to do so. People like his special assistant on special duty, who was ordinarily in charge of motor parks and motorcycles in the state. People like his son, who he appointed as a director in one of the boroughs unknown to the law. And of course, some others, just in-house aides, who are, only yesterday there was a revelation that over 7.8 billion has been spent in Ondo State without appropriation by the House of Assembly by these few people who are running the affairs of the state illegally.
So what is the House of Assembly doing? We hear of fights in-house. They want to impeach the deputy governor. They want to impeach everybody that is loyal to anybody else apart from the governor who is not seen.
That's one of the most unfortunate, aspect of this crisis. The Assembly, which ordinarily should come in at this time to stabilize the polity, has become so incompetent. It has lost focus. This Assembly was inaugurated in June, if you recall, to serve the tenure from 2023 to 2027. But since this Assembly came on board, I can categorically tell you that the only thing that this Assembly has been seen to have done since June, even while the executive seems to be on holiday, is the fact that it has preoccupied itself with buying vehicles for its members. Then the second major project has been how to impeach the deputy governor and bring a protege of the governor to come and become the deputy governor. The Ondo State House of Assembly since June 2023 that it was inaugurated till now has not made any policy or legislation that has to do with governance and the welfare of the people of Ondo State, which is supposed to be their priority. As we speak, the House of Assembly has turned itself to a tool in the hand of those very few people who are trying to destabilize the state because of the politics of 2024 and desperation to replace the deputy governor and put somebody there who can be acting, since they know that the governor is practically incapacitated and it's not coming anytime soon.
Okay, so talking about the impeachment of the supposed impeachment of the deputy governor, this seemed like a recurring theme because, I mean, in his last administration, the other deputy governor was also impeached as well, and this is the second one. So now, could it be his leadership style, or what's the issue? Why is there the impeachment of his deputies? Because if this is successful, that means he's going to have 3 deputy governors in an 8-year term.
Very, very unfortunate. Unfortunately for him, he was unable to remove his first deputy governor because of the court processes and the fact that the processes undertaken by the House of Assembly then, were deemed to be illegal, nullified by the court, and of course the man served his tenure. He is on the same route now, and I can tell you what is happening in Ondo State. It's a bit different from what happened during the first tenure of Governor Akeredolu. Governor Akeredolu was practically available during his first term, and you could see the friction between Governor Akeredolu and his then deputy Agbola Ajayi. It got to a stage that they have to altercate, they have to be public disagreement. But in the case of Lucky Aiyedatiwa, the incumbent deputy governor of Ondo State, there has been no noticeable disagreement between the governor and his deputy. In actual fact, there have been references to how, on a number of occasions, Governor Akeredolu has referred to his deputy as being loyal, as somebody who could, of course, push on the government from wherever it stops and the likes. But what is happening is a situation whereby a very few people, somewhere, have taken advantage of the governor's ill health and are acting in the capacity of the governor illegally and manipulating the process, including the decision to get the deputy governor impeached. If Governor Akeredolu were to be here today and is healthy enough to address the people of Ondo State, you come to realize that he has not been part of this charade going on in Ondo State.
So you're exonerating him?
I want to exonerate him because the governor is practically incapacitated. And I would not think Governor Akeredolu, with the current state of health, would be interested in getting his deputy, who ordinarily should be standing in for him, out at this time.
But what is the deputy governor himself doing? Because this is something that can be addressed legally.
Yes.
He has the right to step into the shoes. We remember what happened to President Yaradua and Jonathan and all that, back and forth. But Jonathan was able to get into that position. So what is he as a person doing?
Jonathan didn't just get into that position, and that is where we are today in Ondo State. As I speak with you today, the people of Ondo State have already initiated moves to demand from the House of Assembly for the implementation of the doctrine of necessity. Jonathan didn't just assume position. It was as a clarion call from Nigerians, demand from Nigeria. In fact, protests led by the same Nigerian group, if you remember, that led the National Assembly into invoking that doctrine of necessity. That is where we are in Ondo State today. The deputy governor does not have any power to make himself the acting governor. The Assembly must invoke that doctrine of necessity, and as I speak to you, mobilizations are on across the state. The people are now demanding that Assembly should leave politics and bring back governance into Ondo State. And the only way you can do that is that Ondo State must have somebody who will lead now. And there must be an acting governor at least.
Yes.
And that is why we are demanding that immediately, without further delay, the doctrine of necessity must be invoked in Ondo State, and Mr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa is empowered to resume as the acting governor of Ondo State.
So how do you intend to achieve that?
Yeah.
Well, of course, through every legitimate means, we will continue to occupy the House of Assembly. We will continue to demand from the House of Assembly to leave politics and face governance. And the only way we can achieve that is to ensure that these are our representatives. And people are coming from all the local government to make this demand. And Ondo State people deserve leadership.
Yes.
I will do that through every legitimate means.
Well, it just gives us goosebumps, you know.
It's quite unfortunate.
We saw Akeredolu, especially in the last, the days leading to the last primaries, the last election and all that. He was very, very outspoken, especially when it came to bringing the presidency to the South. Akeredolu was one of those governors that never hid his feelings and all that. And this happened is so unfortunate. So, so far, how far? How have you gone in this pursuit of this doctrine of necessity? Have you just started, or if you didn't just start, what have you achieved so far, and how does it look like?
We have in the last couple of months demanded that the governor resume office or resign. because you can't just leave the state without leadership. So the doctrine of necessity advocacy is not the first step we are taking as people of Ondo State.
But
we are taking series of steps.
The Constitution didn't say you must be in Ondo to be fair.
You must be in Ondo to be governor.
To superintend over the...
No, you are elected as the governor of Ondo State. Yes. Ondo State is a geographical definition. So Ondo State is not in... Yes, you must be in Ondo State to be governor of Ondo State. You understand? It may not have been dictated in letters, but that is why you cannot sit in Ibadan and contest election to be governor of Ondo State. You would have been in Ondo State because it is defined 36 states. So you can't be governor of Ondo State from Zamfara or from Lagos. You have to be governor of Ondo State. And even if the governor is in Ibadan, as they are claiming, where is the governor in Ibadan? Of course, the governor is not a ghost. Even if it's in Abuja, it should be visible. So what we are saying is that the governor is incapacitated. And that's why they keep hiding him away from the people of Ondo State. And that's why there must be an acting governor who the assembly must empower to take over from this governor who seems to be incapacitated as we speak.
Who is the closest person to the governor that you have seen? His wife? His whatever?
Any relative?
His family, of course. His son was appointed to head one of the bureau that is practically running government in Ondo State. The wife is all over the place, creating series of controversies politically, and a lot of his aides, you understand, you could see his aide on special duty, laying claims to the fact that there's no room for Governor Akeredolu to sleep in a government house that has been built since 1976, and all sort of funny, excuses.
So is anyone saying where he is? Like
nobody is ready to let the people of Ondo State know where and how Governor Akeredolu is now. Because they think,
even health-wise, do we have an idea?
You cannot really say because the man is invisible. He has been held hostage somewhere by these people.
So are you saying that's like a kidnap?
It's like a kidnap, an abduction.
That's serious. That's really serious. Now, but apart from occupying the assembly until the needful is done, what other means are you taking?
We will continue to pursue every legitimate means of ensuring that the right thing is done. You cannot hold the destiny of over 4 million people hostage because of your inordinate ambitions or personal political interest. The interest of the state must be placed on the fore. It must be considered as a priority above every other primordial interest, and that is where we stand.
How much power do you have from the center, for instance? If it doesn't work in the state that you're doing this, how much strength will you have from the center to make sure things are done right in Ondo State?
It's good, and I want to appreciate the governing party, the APC, which has constituted a committee to look into the Ondo State crisis, and we're also petitioning the president, and we are calling the president out to also understand that one of the states where he's presiding over is without a governor against the dictate of the constitution as we speak. And President Tinubu must come out to, of course, speak on this issue at this very moment. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's where we can leave it. Thank you so much for coming. We'll be speaking to Olufemi Lawson, who is the Executive Director of Center for Public Accountability. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
And I hope things get resolved in Ondo State as swiftly as possible.
Hopefully.
And we wish Akeredolu well.
Yes.
That's our prayer.
Yes,
a speedy recovery, whatever. Yeah. Okay, we'll be right back. We'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be looking at Nigeria becoming the third most vulnerable country to cyber attacks. Stay with us.